just trying to start everything up, and there we go. Welcome everybody into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show, and so we just we just got hit by lightning. I know it's sort of like the dog ate the homework. It's right up there as long as that, but we're starting to get everything back up and running, and hopefully Ben, my co-host, will be joining us shortly. In the meantime, let me just kind of tell you how to get in touch with us. If you have a comment or a question for our guests, you can give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and we'll get you through. You can also go to any web page that you would like, and basically it'll just say submit a question, and you can literally submit a question, get your questions answered, and you can do it that way. And just another way of reaching us here at Computer America. But the easiest thing is to give us a call. Now, the other nice thing you can do is go to our show lounge at computeramerica.com, and when you do so, it will automatically begin our live video stream. That's right. We have a live video streaming available at computeramerica.com, so not only can you listen to the show, you can also watch the show. You can actually see everything. You can see myself, you can see Ben, my co-host, and you can see our guests. It just adds for another interesting element to the program. And so we invite you to join our live video stream. As I mentioned, Ben is rebooting as we speak, and he'll be on in about a minute or two, and he'll be joining us here on the Computer America program. Let's see. Let me just tell you. Oh, it is Friday. That means that we're going to be giving away a really nice prize with our social media winner of the week. That's right. We're gonna have a really nice prize from our good friends over at Logitech. What do we have? We have the Logitech Anywhere mouse. That allows you to. It is really a beautiful mouse, and it allows you to literally control up to 3 items. Up to 3 items, and in other words, 3 different computers just by the little push button on the mouse. I've never actually seen that before. You can switch. It's their easy shared technology. Also, they have their dark field technology, which means you can use the mouse on a glass surface. And that's something really cool. So even if you have a glass surface, you can use the mouse there as well. And we're giving that away. It's valued at $80. And you just go to our computeramerica.com. You go to our social media contest page and enter. And you've missed the one for today, but we're going to give another one away next week. And so we invite you to join us and win, have a potential winning a really, really nice prize. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, while Ben attempts to rejoin us, let's introduce our guest for today. It's from a company called Laplink. There you are. Oh, Ben, there you are. Thanks for being here.
I'm telling you, man, these power outages, they're disturbing.
I was like literally 3 minutes before we started the show. Everything was connected, and then poof, we're out.
The power went out for maybe 2 seconds, yeah. And I swear the neighbors were starting to get clubs and build fires, and like society just reverses when power goes out. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, they bring out the clubs, and there it is.
They started forming hunting parties, and deer were on the menu. It was chaos.
We had to feed my family. We're gonna have to hunt. Mm-hmm.
All that in 2 seconds.
All that in 2 seconds. Yeah. Exactly. Well, we're going to tell you about the easiest way to set up a new PC, literally, especially in this day and age of Windows 10, because then a lot of you still have the older services or the older operating systems, and you're worried about moving. Well, we're going to talk about PC Mover. And yes, it's still the easiest way to set up a new PC. It's the only software that automatically transfers files, settings, profiles, and applications to a new PC or upgrades to a new OS, including Windows 10. Now, joining us once again is Thomas Cole, Laplink CEO. Thomas, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Well, hi, Greg. I'm glad that you are back on air. It was a little bit lonely here when both of you went stale and didn't move, but
Yeah.
I guess now before the winter starts, you can invest in some power supplies. You know, some UPSs.
Yeah, I have a UPS. I have an uninterruptible power supply on my computer. I believe Ben does too. But you know what doesn't have a UPS, and it just occurred to me, is our link to the internet. Our internet spot.
Router, yeah.
And so we need to get a UPS just for our internet box, so that won't go out, because that takes a few minutes to reset if it goes power.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is right. I mean, when we lose power, we lose we lose it.
We do lose it, absolutely. Well, again,
the sad thing is we have 5 dogs. I mean, how hard is it to get a treadmill and power cables? Like, this should be doable.
Yes, exactly.
Make the dogs, make the electricity. That sounds good.
Now it's still thundering and lightning, and I'll tell you, if it goes out again, I think we'll just chalk up the show because I don't know if we're going to be able to recover another time. But we can.
But we're doing good so far.
So far. By the way, Ben has the technology to display websites in the background, videos, movies. So if you're watching us on a live video stream, you can see everything on Ben's live video stream. However. So Thomas, again, it's been about a year since you've been on the show, and we're glad to have you back. So what's different now with Laplink? What have you done since? I know you just don't sit on your laurels. I know you're constantly making improvements. What are you doing that with the company?
Well, I mean, the world has changed. We have now Windows 10. So all the whining, all the criticism, all the crying about Windows 8 is over. And we have Windows 10, and I must say that Microsoft has changed a bit. I think from a management perspective, they're going a different road. They're trying to listen more to customers. They brought the start button back. Perhaps a little thing, but that was one of the biggest criticism. And they also make all the updates for free. Now, certainly, to get everybody on it. But in our situation where we have Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Microsoft really has to push to get everybody to Windows 10. So I think that is the big change. And for all of us ISVs, we of course have to bring out new versions. So we also did all of our PC Mover technologies updated to support Windows 10.
Okay. And was it a big deal for you? Was it a big job to get to support Windows 10? I mean, was there a lot of different things that you had to do, or was it a very simple process?
No, I think it was a pretty simple process because most applications are compatible between Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and 10. That is not a big thing. But Microsoft did change a little bit, and you never know what they launch at the end. They might put in some access controls, and suddenly we are locked out of files. I mean, think of Windows RT. Suddenly, we were in a totally closed sandbox system, and we couldn't get to any files. So there were really no big changes, but for us, we also tried to optimize for Windows 10. One of the big change in Windows 10 is this very strong integration with OneDrive. And so, if you have OneDrive files on your computer, we will transfer over, set it up into the right folders. And so, we will support OneDrive and also Dropbox that are more integrated with a PC, and that I think will make a big difference for users.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we're like most people where we try not to think about Windows RT.
Yes, I mean, that was, unfortunately, it was a big misunderstanding. I think, if you look at Apple, when they introduced the iPads, everybody said, yeah, it's just a bigger iPhone. So no Apple user screamed. When Windows created Surface, it was not considered a bigger phone with all the restrictions. It was considered a smaller PC. And then you were very surprised that nothing worked, or a lot of your applications would not work. And that was a marketing error and positioning error. If somebody would have said, this is, the much better phone, it's the same as an iPad, perhaps, people would have understood it. But bringing that out first and then the Pro version totally confused every user.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. But that confusion seems to have I would say the resounding consensus of all of our correspondents, everybody that we do here at Computer Maker, really feel that Windows 10.
A resounding and very loud. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, of course, that comes from the techie. Nothing is good enough, except perhaps freeware and some open source.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think the feedback from the press, from users, is very good, and I do think that with their strategy to bring Windows on all devices and that you can run similar applications, will make a big difference, especially in the enterprise. Where it is very hard to live with all these different platforms that people bring in. I think the era of IT controlling everything is certainly, again, interrupted. The same as when the PC came in. Now we bring so many devices in that we want to use. And I know that even in our small company, our IT guy is just going nuts when people come in with new phones that suddenly connect to the corporate network, and he really hates that. So having a consistent framework, whether you want to use it or not, but it's just the choice that you can have tablets, small tablets that are full Windows, having phones that can run, most these unified apps. I think it's a breakthrough and a great benefit.
So let's talk a little bit about what's difference between earlier version. I mean, the PC Mover. I understand you have a PC Mover Professional. And some of the optimizations you've done for Windows 10. If someone is about ready to move a Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 installation to a Windows 10 environment, what version of PC Mover do they need, and what's different with that, if anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, we have certainly different target groups and different products. First to say is, if you buy a new PC with Windows 10, or even if you buy a Windows 8.1 and you update to Windows 10, getting your application data and settings over to the new PC is always a pain. You do that, over the weekend as a consumer. It takes, even the techie takes a weekend to do that. And a lot of times, you not only for your own machine, you also have to move the family machines. And if you lose the baby pictures, then you have to call the divorce lawyer, because your wife will certainly kill you. So you have to make sure that you get everything across. And so we developed the PC Mover technology that lets you easily move application data and setting to a new PC. So we have basically now in the market, let's say, three major product families. One is what we call PC Mover Express, and that moves your data and settings. And that is a very easy product to use. It will move all your data. It finds all your data, even if the data is not in the My Documents directory. And it will also move your settings so that your old PC pretty much feels and talks like your old computer.
All right.
For those people that have also tons of applications they want to bring over, especially from Windows 7 and Windows 8.1, where a lot of that is compatible, you can also move the applications with our PC Mover Professional. The PC Mover Professional is really the bread and butter product that does everything for the consumer, home office, and perhaps even for the small business. And sometimes it's a little bit confusing. What should I use? But basically, you can say, well, Professional is what does everything for the consumer and home office. Express is doing data and settings. And then on the high end, for our enterprise customers and larger organizations that have over 100 PCs, we also have PC Mover Enterprise, and that has a lot of configuration for the IT department. So for the IT department, we have a lot of tools for that. But PC Mover Professional is really the one that has all the functionality that you need to use as an individual user.
Wow. Okay. So for the average computer users, PC Mover Express sounds to me we'll get, or PC Mover Express or PC Mover will get the job done for them.
Yes, absolutely. And we have some great offers out there, for home and small business users. And I can tell you here that just 2 days ago, Microsoft launched a new website where they will distribute PC Mover Express for free.
Wow.
For consumers, non-commercial use. And that is a tremendous partnership, because I think we are the only third-party software product that is being distributed by Microsoft. And so everybody who is in a home, is a consumer user, can download that product for free, can use it for free on their PC, and it moves their data and settings. If you're a small business or a home office and use it in a commercial way, so for example, crack, you wouldn't be allowed to use it in your business, then for $20 you get the unrestricted express version, or for for around $50 you get the professional versions. Often you see better deals, sometimes in retail, Best Buy or Amazon. But even if you pay $50 for the software, if that saves you a weekend of work, that is a great deal. But you can't beat right now the Microsoft offer. They fully endorsed us as the migration provider for Windows 10. And so that's a great partnership and a great benefit to users, because they will provide the software for free to the users.
Now, that's actually a question that I had on my mind. Was, this is obviously a service that's very powerful and that a lot of people need at some point in their PC using career, and I'm surprised that Microsoft hasn't come out with some kind of system tool to kind of help with this. But to hear them just endorse you right out instead of having to somehow do all the legwork themselves and build their own, and just say, hey, Laplink is our go-to. Here you go. Here's a copy. Like that, very, very, very strong endorsement.
Well, it's even better than that. In Windows 7 and 8, and less so in 8.1, Microsoft had the Windows Easy Transfer tool in Windows, and we started partnering with Microsoft last year when it was end of service for Windows XP, and we already provided the free PC Mover Express for XP user. And Microsoft took that a step further. In Windows 10, you do not have any migration tools. So instead of developing more, they actually took it out and then fully endorsed us as the premier leader for migration. And that makes us, of course, here, all the developers and all the marketing people are extremely proud, that we get picked as the premier leader in this category. As a small American company, worldwide. We have launched with Microsoft in 18 markets around the world, and that's a tremendous achievement.
So let me make this clear to our listeners. With Windows 10, there is no more Windows Easy Transfer.
That is correct.
Right. So basically, and if I'm a listener or I'm a user, I'm going to say, well, why can't I just copy my old files and folders, and get the same results? What would your answer to them be?
No, of course you can do that, but first you have to copy it onto an external device, whether it's a stick and everything. And I mean, today, people have 20, 30, 40 gigabyte of data. That takes a lot of time. That's why I said you can do it all manually. I doubt that you can get all the settings, because who knows where all these settings are. A registry has 100,000 settings in there, and a fully loaded PC might have 500,000 settings. Perhaps not all of them are important, but tell me how many users really know where their favorites are. How do you find your favorites? And so you can't just copy everything over, and when it comes to application, of course you can't copy them at all. So yes, you can do your data manually, but you might also forget data. Ben and you probably know, where's the Outlook data, in what directory?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not in my documents.
Oh.
And for a normal user that buys a computer, that's ridiculous. It is so hidden. Of course, with PC Mover, we find all the data. And, we will transport them over to your new PC. We don't overwrite anything. We just add to your new PC all the things that you had on your old computer. And you can select that. So you can say, well, of course, I don't want my music that's also in the sky. I have my Amazon cloud drive, or I have it somewhere on the cloud. I don't need to do that, so I'll filter out all MP3s.
All right.
No matter where they are.
Right.
And again, if you go through your computer and you want to find all the data, it is a weekend job, and it's really painful.
It would be longer than a weekend, quite frankly. I mean, I think you're being kind when you say it would be a weekend. We're talking, maybe a week worth of work and frustration, and why, when something like PC Mover will do all this for you.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad that you do acknowledge that people could do this by hand. It would be, to someone who has some experience with computers, yes, you could definitely do it by hand. But at some point, you got to say, what is your time worth? If you feel like, $25, $30 is, worth more than 3 or 4 or 6 hours of your life, then you could move it by hand. But a lot of people, I think, are very willing to make that trade-off, spend a few dollars to save a lot of hours.
Yeah, and I mean, you take that into an example that we all know so well. A house move is nothing different. Yeah, I mean, of course you can move your own house. You can box by box in your car, you drive between the two places, yeah, and it takes you forever. And as a student, I did that. Yeah, and it was no fun. So at some point when I got my first money, I said, never again will I do a house move. I rather have the truck come, they pack everything up, put it to the new location, unpack it, and I'm done. And that is really the best comparison you can have. It is like a house move. Yes, you can do it. You might not be able to do your big, desk. It's too heavy or something like that, and you still need help. And it's the same with a computer. You might not all get it done, and you need help. And you have to call your, if you're a small business, you call your help desk support. That's very expensive, and people have to help you. Or if you're at home and something goes wrong, and you can't find things like your Outlook data file, then you have to call the expert, and then it's very expensive. And one call, to the Geek Squad or to, any local computer vendor is more expensive than for the software that gets it all done.
Now, Thomas, I have a question for you because, and this is kind of, when we start talking about applications, when you move in applications, sometimes some of them don't care, but most of them today and more of the generations do, and then they say, oh, this is a strange machine, I don't recognize it, and I either have to reinstall it, and you have to go find the codes and everything. Does PC Mover handle that for me? In other words, when it moves something, how does it deal with that?
Yes, I mean it basically moves it automatically. It will take the activation across. Now there are exceptions. We don't circumvent licensing agreements by vendors. So you can, for example, a good example would be Adobe. They have great software, but their software is licensed to that PC or activated to that PC, and so you have to deactivate first, then move and reactivate. And the same with iTunes. I mean, move iTunes. Apple does not like that. Yeah? Most of the time they delete your device anyway if you do something. But there are some exceptions, and you should know your license agreements and so on. Unfortunately, there are no good lists of what is all linked to the machine. But iTunes and Adobe are two that I know. Office will work, and a lot of other applications. We actually do not recognize the application per se. We see that all as a block of data, and so therefore we can move applications that are not in the marketplace. We are the highest selling utility in Japan, and of course my development team cannot understand a Japanese application. So we move that all. It works very well. The other caveat I would do is we always we block most of them, but we always say do not move any antivirus applications because they are always tied with hidden hardware drivers to your system. And we also say, any application that has hardware drivers associated with it, for example, perhaps sometimes scan software, you should not try to move that across because the hardware drivers are associated with your old machine. And think about, you don't want to have a printer driver or a scan driver from your XP machine suddenly on your Windows 10 machine because it will blue screen the same as if lightning strikes you.
Yeah, exactly. And what about, does PC Mover handle 32-bit and 64-bit applications? I know that's an issue too. How does it handle
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we move the 32-bit application into the right spaces in the registry, and they work. Now, of course, everybody who comes from Windows XP, that is a very old application system, and most of that is 32 to 64. And unfortunately, with the incompatibility of these applications, perhaps only 50 to 60% of applications work. But you can, of course, run the compatibility test that Microsoft are offering. But if you have an issue, for example, if you move applications over and your system doesn't really work as unstable, you can roll back the migration, yeah, and try it again without the application. You can select all the applications during, before the move. So if it's 32-bit applications that we are not sure, we actually mark it with yellow. So we have green, yellow, and red. So we say red is blocked because we know it will crash your system. Yellow, we don't know because there are too many variables involved between 32 and 64-bit. And green, yes, you can move. And so we say if you come from 32 to 64-bit, perhaps don't move the yellow applications, perhaps move them one by one and repeat the process. That makes it very effective. But even by doing that, you will save so much time, and you will get more applications to work because we circumvent the installer. And many installers of 32-bit applications will actually not install on a 64-bit system. They block it already from the installer. And so we are more successful than if you try it by hand.
Okay. All right. Listen, we're toward the bottom of the hour, Thomas, and so we're gonna have to take a little break here, and then when we come back, we're going to continue talking about PC Mover. So many people are still migrating over from their current version of Windows to Windows 10, and this amazing little utility will take the pain and suffering out of moving all of your data from one computer to another, or even to the same computer when you do the upgrade. But we're going to have to pause, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the iTuneIn Radio Network, lots of networks. We're talking to Thomas Cole, who is the CEO of Laplink. If you're watching on a live video, you can see Bellevue, Washington in the background, where Thomas is. And we're going to be back. We have a social media winner of the week. That's all coming up. A news test bulletin review from Marty Winston as well. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. I want to tell you something about VTech. They always have the coolest telephone systems around. VTech's new 4-line small business phone system, the perfect solution for small business owners that need to install a phone system that has qualities and features that have previously only been available for companies with bigger budgets. First of all, this new system is the most affordable and easy to install 4-line phone system on the market. Its components allow the system to grow alongside a business, up to 10 extensions that can be located anywhere. The 4-line small business phone system also comes equipped with a number of advanced features such as auto attendant for each line, a digital answering machine with mailboxes for every extension, full duplex speakerphones, music on hold, power failure operation, 6-way conferencing, and much, much more. The VTech 4-line small business phone system is available in stores and online at Office Depot, Office Max, and Staples, as well as online at www.vtechphones.com. Tell them I sent you.
Hey, who turned the sun on? Didn't this used to be a nighttime show? Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Zackies Turn Signal Gloves. So, Zackies invited us to get their gloves with built-in LED turn signals. We couldn't resist. The turn signals are outward-pointing arrows on the back of the gloves with contact buttons on the finger and thumb to activate them. Each arrow blinks 9 LEDs. They're bright and respond to bright ambient light by getting even brighter. Their batteries are rechargeable, and a recharger comes with. When you take the battery pack off, the gloves are washable. There's a lot of good engineering here, anticipating and eliminating our usual sources of complaints. Bottom line, Zacky's turn signal gloves take biking safety in a good direction. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. And that something, does it have to be out there?
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. We are here with Laplink, Mr. Thomas Cole, who is the CEO of Laplink, and we're just getting in, or we're really getting into, really their flagship product, which is PC Mover, and a lot of great information for anyone out there who wants to know who wants to know about moving files, applications, data to a new computer. And we've covered what happens when you want to upgrade to Windows 10, and be that to a new machine, be that to the same machine, and blah blah. But that's one use case. The other use case, which it appears that you have an application for, is this thing called Safe Data Wipe, and I think this is something that a lot of people do. Like I know that unfortunately I'm near the bottom of the totem pole in this family for receiving computers, and when I do have a computer that needs to be handed down, I usually give it to charity, and that's all good. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that even if you wipe data, that doesn't mean it's necessarily gone for good. So what is the Safe Data Wipe thing that you do, and how, and why should people use it if they're handing down or giving away a computer?
Well, that is of course a very useful thing to have. First of all, you're absolutely right. When you want to get rid of your old computer, usually you hand it down, or you give it to charity, or you try to sell it on eBay, or you just throw it away. There are of course great places that can either use all the hardware or actually refurbish the computer and give them into charity. What you should not do is leave the computer just erased, because one of the biggest mysteries, or things that in PC computing is when you delete a file, it prompts you to say, do you really want to permanently delete the file? And you say yes. Right. And of course, it is not permanently deleted. Any off-the-shelf tool can recover these files. And a couple of partners from us, they did a big research in Europe, and they would buy up from eBay all kinds of hard drives and then restore the data. And it's amazing what people have on their hard drives that are not deleted. So our product is called Safe Erase, and it will safely erase all the data up to the government level where it's 7 times erased, and takes forever, takes the whole night to erase that, but basically it writes zeros into it, then overwrites them again, then overwrites them again, and it's very safe. But what I like about Safe Erase is you can actually also use it in daily work. There might be some files that you really want to permanently delete, and you can delete a file or folder on your normal computer. You don't always have to do the whole computer, but you can also do that for certain files. It's a very useful tool, $29.95. But if you don't want to have your data in the wild, you have to do something either from us or from our competitors. It is more important that you use one product that works than to have your data floating around.
That makes a lot of sense. It does. I mean, in this day and age of security, you certainly. I mean, I know people who literally will sell their computer, but they take the hard drive out. They don't even want to risk it. They have information. They're not sure whether the data has been.
Yeah, they take it out, and they take the drill gun and they drill a hole right through all the platters. People are serious.
Yeah,
no, I mean, and they should be. I mean, again, if you already see what kind of data is floating around in the social networks that you didn't want to have float around there. You know, imagine what's all on your hard drive. Yeah. And even if you don't think of, you know, the sensitive data in your personal life and pictures, you know, there's your financial data, you know, there are your tax returns that might be on that. And it is actually a very good deal to give your PC to charity. You know, we should not take the hard drive out and drill it. We rather should, you know, make sure that it gets recycled properly and not just, you know, drill a hole and throw away, but also refurbish. Many of the computers that we might not need, you know, there are a lot of kids in need. There are a lot of people in need in the U.S. and elsewhere. And in every bigger city, you have a recycling center. And you can look on the internet. It even goes that far that some of these guys will, if you have a good, let's say, laptop that works well, they send you a prepaid package and you can just send it to them. It is really to think about, don't throw your stuff away, give it away, and have perhaps a second use of it or third use of it.
No, it makes a lot of sense. You just want to make sure that anything of a sensitive nature is deleted from it, and just not say delete. You need to use something like the product from Laplink that will a safe erase that will make sure that it is safely erased, and you can be fairly assured that. I mean, I know the DoD has certain guidelines when it comes to erase. How many types of ones and zeros has to be written over so many times, and you know, it gets to be crazy. And then we've interviewed some security people in the past who have claimed that even though you know, these things are written over a couple of times, there are techniques of, I think, called ghosting, where there's an image still on there that they can get a hold of, or parts of it. I don't know how true that is. Have you heard any of that?
No, I don't. I mean, you know, certainly, who knows what the NSA and the FBI are doing, and you know that they're trying to do that. But let's say if you just want to make sure, I mean, we support the highest level of DoD erasing. So if there's anything beyond that, then, you know, I would say there's something somewhere hidden there that it was put there by the NSA, and, you know, everybody who is paranoid, you know, can go nuts now. But no, I mean, you know, you can be pretty sure. The point is that you just don't want anybody with off-the-shelf tools to, you know, undelete your stuff, and you're pretty secure with our products or from our competitors. There are a lot of good products around.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Now let's talk a little bit about disk image, which is you're billing as advanced backup and recovery to protect your PC. Tell us a little bit about this product.
Well, that's basically your you know, full copy of your PC, and you know, in the new technology world, it's no longer called a backup; it's called an image, because it basically does a sector by sector, you know, backup and image of your PC, and you can put it away on an archive. And you know, if your hard drive fails, and it does happen more often these days than before, I don't know why, but it seems that it happens more often. You know, you can restore your whole PC.
Well, you know, it's not if your hard drive will fail, it's when it's going to fail, because sooner or later it will. But this is not a file backup. This is a disk imaging. Basically, disk image takes a snapshot of your hard drive as it is, and then when your hard drive malfunctions, you can take that snapshot and put it back on sector by sector. And the advantage to doing that, as opposed to a file backup, is that you may not realize it, but you have an enormous amount of work that has been dedicated to setting everything up on your hard drive, from whatever wallpaper you're using to all the different settings, and it takes a long time to get it, and you get used to that. With a file backup, it puts the files back, yes, but all of your settings and everything are not there anymore. But with a snapshot of your hard drive, literally everything that you had configured gets put back.
Yes, and you have to even look at into various scenarios. You know, some people will say, you know, oh, I have my data in the cloud, I have it in OneDrive, I have it in Dropbox, I have it in Mozy, or you know, whatever all the different offers are. But as you say, that is your data. Now you drive over your PC because you left it on your car and it fell off. You know, when you then backed up and you wrote over it. or the proverbial thunderstorm again kills all your PCs. And you go to Best Buy and you buy a new PC. Well, you can restore your data, and then what? Data by itself doesn't do anything. You need the applications, and so now you have to struggle. Where were all the applications? Well, of course, you can't even get to the email where your codes are, and so on. So to have an image is absolutely necessary, and everybody should have that. Unfortunately, the American user and probably the worldwide user, I think only 15% will actually back up their system.
Less than 4%. But
yeah.
The thing, now the scenario that you painted, restoring the image to my current computer system is one thing, but restoring the computer image to a new computer won't. That now remember the software is registered to the computer, so would you not have? You'd have to re-register all of your software again.
Yeah, and that could very well be, but it basically, it puts it on the new computer, and if that is a different computer than you had,
right.
There might be problems. The biggest issue I have with that is in a time of OS change, that gets now very tricky. So, for example, you have your wonderful Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 machine. Now that breaks, you go now to the store, and you will, of course, buy a new Windows 10 machine. Why would you buy a Windows 7 machine?
Right.
And when you restore your image, you have a Windows 7 machine back, which deletes your Windows 10. It deletes everything that the manufacturer put on it, and sometimes also the driver that you need, fingertip reader, what have you. So image technology cannot be restored on a different OS.
Okay.
So you sometimes can restore it on a different hardware, but OS independence, neither Symantec, I think they don't do Ghost anymore, but I think the leader would be now a Cronus True Image.
Cronus, yes, True Image.
If you have a True Image or a disk image, you cannot restore that on a Windows 10 machine without killing that whole machine. But there, I have a solution for you.
Oh, really?
With PC Mover Professional, we include a subsystem which is called the Image and Drive Assistant. And you can actually restore from the image your whole computer the same way as if you move from an old to new computer, with the same powerful tools that you do in the PC to PC transfer, which means you can, for example, block iTunes because you can download it again. It might, block your antivirus products, block perhaps the Adobe one because you can't deregister, and then you have to work with Adobe to get your software back. But you can actually restore the image. And the other area of that is, of course, exactly what happened today. You could, with the thunderstorm and your lightning, your PC might have a fatal error because it got fried, but your hard drive might be good. So what do you do with your hard drive? You connect it to the new machine, and you perhaps can save your data, but never your application and settings. With PC Mover Professional and Image and Drive Assistant, you can actually restore that hard drive directly to the new PC. We are the only one who can do that. That technology is totally unique, and it comes because we have all the expertise of the PC Mover, product line. So I would always say, do an image of your PC, and with PC Mover, not only can you install it to new OS, but you can also restore a hard drive, and that is extremely useful and saves some people really saves the day.
Yeah, saves the agony. Absolutely. So hopefully all of our listeners are getting it, what's going on here. I mean, obviously we're in a time of upgrading Windows 10, and of course between that, making backups. We've always said here from day one on Computer America, it's backup, backup, and backup. You really need to do that.
Yeah, we get a lot of emails, every month asking, hey, my hard drive died, how do I get my data back? And this happened, this happened, this happened. And we always just kind of have to point and say, do you have a backup? And 8 times out of 10, no. So
yeah, and so I want to perhaps cover a different point in the same area. Right now, everybody is upgrading to Windows 10. So everybody, with a Windows 7 PC, Windows 8.1 PC can upgrade to Windows 10. Now, there are two issues we should tell the users because I think that is very critical. First of all, you cannot upgrade from a Windows XP machine. You also cannot upgrade from a Windows 8 machine. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have 7 or 8.1, you cannot freely upgrade. So for that, we have also the upgrade assistant from PC Mover that allows you to also upgrade from XP on the same machine or from Windows 8, or what Microsoft also will not offer is from 32 to 64-bit. So if you want to have Windows 10 64-bit and you have a 32-bit system, that free upgrade will not work. You can only go from 32 to 32, 64 to 64. Mm-hmm. Without explaining that in long detail, PC Mover Upgrade Assistant. That's all you need, and you can upgrade from any machine in-place upgrade that has been on the same machine from Windows XP to Windows 10, and everything in between. So that is one point I want to make. The other point is when you got your Windows 10 system now installed, you actually don't have a recovery because you just uploaded. You had your old recovery from Windows 8. And after the year that after the free upgrade period is over, if your PC crashes, you cannot restore that PC. So it's absolutely necessary that once you go to Windows, I would do 2 backups. One before I go to Windows 10 because something can happen during the upgrade. Mm-hmm. They tested it. It works great. I did it, and it was just, I didn't even have to put anything in it. It was just fantastic. But, people say because, they have some problems with the old computer, something happened. Make a backup, an image, before you upgrade to Windows 10. Once you upgrade to Windows 10, make an image because you can't recover at some point because you don't have that license available. It was an upgrade. And, after that 1 year, people say that they can't get a recovery image back. Of course, from Windows 10. The recovery you have is for your 8.1 or Windows 7 PC. So you can only go back to the old one, and you lost your Windows 10 license.
Wow. If you look at the Laplink website, it says here, of the 66 Windows 7 upgrade scenarios detailed by Microsoft, only 14 are supported by Windows.
Yep. Yeah, that was because nothing. They will not upgrade from Windows XP, and so for Windows 7. Everybody used PC Mover Upgrade Assistant. With Windows 10, of course, Microsoft has done a great job upgrading, from 7 and 8.1. And that's the majority, but there are holes. And if you come from 32-bit, if you come from XP, from Vista, or from Windows 8, then you have a problem. And with PC Mover Upgrade Assistant, we can certainly help you that you don't have to reinstall everything.
Right, exactly. I still remember the days of where you had that Laplink Easy Transfer cable, between two computers and everything, and I guess you still have it, but really in today's day and age of being online, you don't really
people like wireless.
You don't really need to use that anymore, do you?
No, you don't. But astonishingly enough, some people do like the cable because they don't want to clutter the network during the transfer. So if your kids are downloading the big video in 2 different rooms, then your wireless network might be already pretty full, and so you might want to do an offline migration, and that's why people use the cable. Corporations sometimes use cables because they don't want to offload their network, and it's just for some people who say, well, I don't have the network, I want to do it differently, and that is fine. So we still have the Laplink high-speed Ethernet cable or the USB cable that are on our website available.
It used to have a serial cable, but nobody uses serial these days.
Well, that's the problem. It was a beauty, when we had the parallel cables and the serial cables in different colors. Yeah. So because people didn't even know what a parallel or what a serial cable was. Right. And that's the legacy of Laplink, where we actually the cables for us was what the mouse is for Windows. Yeah, we didn't care about the cables, but that's the only way you could connect 2 machines and then synchronize of data transfer. So right now for 32 years, We have done data transfer, migration, ad hoc connectivity, and I think the testament is that Microsoft picks us for the big partner for migration. So that makes us very proud over the years.
Right. Now, I just want to make it clear also to everybody that you actually offer 2 upgrade assistants. You have a Windows 7 upgrade assistant and a Windows 8 upgrade assistant.
Yes.
And you obviously want to pick the right one.
No, you can actually pick any one. It is actually more to deconfuse users. When it is just one thing. The software is the same. It works on everything, but people get confused when they said, well, I have a Windows 7, don't I need the PC Mover for Windows 7? And so it's just something where people would like to have the right version number for their system, but actually it's the same software we support from Windows 7, 8, and 10.
So you have different packaging, but basically everything is going to work.
It is just because we have some of these packages are still in retail, and so you have to support backend support that, and that's the only reason why we have the numbering. Actually, all of our users always get the most current software. So if you buy a retail package, you can always be assured there's an update button and you get the newest software from us without any charge. There is never a problem in that. But because people sell old version on Amazon, it's very hard to clean up old version in retail and in the reseller channel. And so just to avoid confusion, we perhaps create more confusion with a 7 and 8, but be assured you always get the latest and best, and you can do from 7 to 10.
Thomas, I mean, I can't remember the last time that I went and I bought a boxed piece of software, quite frankly. I mean, everything basically, you buy it online, you download it, and you're always assured of having the latest version. Are people still buying boxes these days? Or
yeah, I mean, it certainly has declined, and the retailers have declined. But there's still a software business at Best Buy, Fry's, Micro Center, Staples, Office Depot, what have you, Walmart, Costco. There's still, but the selection is very small, and yes, people realize that you can do that. But there are customers who really like to, when they pay $50 or $30, they like something heavy in the hand.
You think that's as a retailer, I mean, as a publisher, excuse me, do you think that's going to go away eventually? You think that the boxes are all going to go away and it's going to?
Well, I mean, but it has to be replaced. You see, distribution and retailers were always a pre-selection. I mean, if I go to Amazon today and I say, I want a Bluetooth speaker, you get 50,000 different models, from all over the world. You don't have a guarantee what is quality and what is not. If you go into a store, you think they made already a selection for you, and it's true because they would usually say, we tested it and so on. Of course, you can buy all kind of software, but whether the software is pirated, whether the software is legitimate, whether it's cloned, you don't know. So people still like the idea of going to the experts and doing it, the same as they like to go to the tech benches and buy a PC. Look at Apple. You could buy it all online. Why do I have to go into the Apple store? No, I want to touch it. Yeah, I want to touch the box. I want to touch the device. Microsoft built all now the stores the same way as Apple did, so that people can touch the devices and not just. Yeah, and sometimes I mean, I think for a PC it's even more important because you said I want to feel how the keyboard is.
Yeah.
I want to feel how the screen is. So so they will stay longer there. I mean, perhaps at some point there's no more software in retail, but I think there will be more software services in retail, more installation. I think there are now great offers for migration services, so that you don't have to do it yourself. You go to Staples or you go to Microsoft Store or you go to the Geek Squad, and hopefully they have a way to migrate your software. And hopefully they are using PC Mover for that. So, we'll see whether they make this difficult or easy.
Well, Thomas, we're about out of time. Again, I want to thank you for being here with us tonight and telling us about it all, especially in the wake of Windows 10 and people wondering what to do, and hopefully we've given them some direction. And again, you can go to the Laplink website at laplink.com, or you go to computeramerica.com. We also have the link to Laplink right there at our homepage at computeramerica.com. Thomas, always a pleasure having you here on the program, and please, let's not wait till Windows 11 when you come back again.
Yeah, and we don't know what that will be, but for all your users, I offer the free version of PC Mover Express. Check it out when you buy a new computer. You can download it from www.pcmover10.laplink.com, or I'm sure that you guys will put it on your webpage for the free download. You can also get then an upgrade to the Pro version at a cheaper price, or even buy the box then from your retailer. But I think it's an exciting time. The PC is not dead, no matter what people say. It might be a little bit declining, but I think it gets more exciting because more devices will run a powerful system, and so we are very excited for the future.
I agree with you. Thomas, thank you again for being with us here today on Computer America. You have a great day, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yep, thank you for having me, and all the best to the mountain and the East Coast region.
you too. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there he goes. Thomas Cole, again, CEO of Laplink. And
as we all know, the PC's been dead for the last 10 years, so, at least that's what we hear in the news.
Yeah. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking to the CEO and co-founder of Zeetings. Robert Kowalski is going to be joining us here, and we're going to talk about Zeetings and what it does. Very interesting. Basically, it changes the one-way presentations into two-way conversations, and we're going to have him here explaining exactly how that works, and we look forward to that as well. He is overseas right now. I understand it's about 6 in the morning where he is, but we'll be talking to him, and of course
we're going to have overseas. That's like Mars. What? Yeah,
our social media winner of the week will be announced as well. We're giving away that Logitech MX Anywhere MX2 cordless mouse, valued at $80. We're going to take a very short break, and then we're going to come right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back, I promise. Short of lightning strikes.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on into the second hour of Computer America on our very first week of our daylight programming, live broadcasting 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time from now on. And we welcome all of you who are joining us live. Of course, you can still listen to us time-shifted, delayed, however you want to do it. You can listen to any of our shows. Just go to our archives link at computeramerica.com. It's right there in the pull-down menu, and you can see all the different ways you can listen to the Computer America Show delayed. We're available on Apple's iTunes. We're also now on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. The Blog Talk Radio Network also archives our shows as well, so you can listen to it at your own. But the fun is joining us live, because you can kind of interact with us. You can interact with our guests. You can speak with them. You can talk to them. We make all of it available. Again, just pick up the phone, give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881, or go to any of our pages at computeramerica.com. All of them have on the upper right-hand corner a submit a question link. You just click that, and you can submit a question to our guest. Click the submit button. Both Ben and I will see it. And, of course, there's a live video stream that we encourage you to participate with as well. if you're listening to us live between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, you can watch the Computer America show live. So you can see myself, you can see Ben, you can see the guest, you can see all the links and Ben's background, videos. It's all interactive, and it's live. Now, of course, we also archive our videos, too. We have our own YouTube page, so when you go to our archives link, you can actually watch the Computer America show just like you could when you're live. It's just that when we're live, you can totally interact with us if you so wish. Okay, and of course, this hour we're going to be giving away the Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that in this
time.
Yeah, it's our first daytime giveaway. We had a lot of firsts this week.
You know what that means, right?
What's that mean?
It means we're going to ship it today too. We're that fast. You're going to win it, and it's going to be shipped to you same day.
It's visible also without any incandescent lighting, as you can see.
Exactly.
Daytime. All right. So all that is in place. And anything else you want to mention before we bring on our second hour guest, Ben?
No. I think you covered just about everything. I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, let's bring him on. We're going to be talking to Zeetings. Zeetings gets everyone in your presentations and meetings to participate and gives you instant insight into what they're thinking. Ooh, sounds a little psychic phenomenon. Deliver interactive presentations that combine your PowerPoints and PDFs with video, web content, images, even polls. Everyone participates from their own device, in person or remote, in real time, or in their own time. No need to download or install a thing. That, I think, is really cool. I'm going to find out how you do that. It just works. Now, joining us is Robert Kowalski, the CEO and co-founder of Zeetings. Robert, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hi, Craig. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ben.
So you heard my introduction, but why don't you tell the listeners in your own words exactly what is Zeetings and what it does?
Yeah, I'd love to. So Zeetings is really, it's a completely new way to present, but also just share presentations. So fundamentally what we've seen is, a typical presentation, someone stands in front of a room or in front of a screen when it's a webinar, or perhaps in front of a classroom, and they talk at an audience. And everyone's expected to kind of sit back and listen as passive spectators. What we found is that actually that's not the best way to communicate. The best way to communicate is what you were describing just a minute ago, where people can actually have a two-way dialogue. So what we do is we allow everyone in a presentation to actually grab their device, whether it's a laptop, tablet, or phone, and interact with the presenter in real time. So they get the content, but more specifically, they can actually comment and question and answer polls, and it turns this what's traditionally been a one-way medium into a two-way conversation.
Okay, so it sounds almost too good to be true. I mean, you say you don't have to download anything. I mean, how do you do that without downloading anything?
So it's all browser-based.
Okay.
And we've found that's really important, because one of the things with a presentation is, you show up to present. You can't have this expectation that people in your audience have to download an app or install some software. And the other thing I hate with webinars is you open up your old webinar software, and the first thing it tells you just as you're about to start your call is, can you upgrade? And you know there's someone waiting for you on the other end of the line, and you got this loading wheel going. So Zeetings is completely browser-based. All you do as a participant is go to a URL. So as an example, yours could be zeetings.com/Craig, and you're in. You're up and running.
Well, now, does it require a modern browser? I mean, does this use HTML5? I mean, or do you need Flash or Java? What do you need to do this?
Yeah, so definitely no Flash. We support. I think it's slowly disappearing. Too slowly for some, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Too slowly.
Modern browser. We go back to Internet Explorer 9. Firefox, Chrome. You tend to always be on the latest version, so no issue there. And importantly, it does work on mobile browsers. So, on your iPhone, perfectly fine on Safari.
What about Microsoft Edge, which is the new browser for Windows 10?
Yeah, it works on Edge.
Okay, that's okay. So basically,
yeah, kind of leapfrogging off of Craig's question, I always like to ask this about new services and new products. Is what would you say in the last, 5 years, or past year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, what new technology, like what has changed in the technology landscape that allows you to do Zeetings? Like, is it just widespread faster internet? Is it modern browsers? What has changed that let you come out with this now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it was really a combination of a few things. So one is just the proliferation of mobile devices. So all of a sudden you've got rooms of people where everyone has a device in their pocket, and more specifically, when you say the last 5 years, it's people are so attached to it that when they interact, they actually want to use it. So it's partly the hardware and partly that psychology. But the other piece of really interesting technology is WebSockets. So what that allows is for us to give a presenter the power to control someone else's device through the browser. So once someone joins a presentation, the presenter can actually kind of take over their screen and control what content they see. And that's what allows us real-time interaction. So that WebSocket technology combined with the speed of internet to actually make it work has allowed this to happen.
So how difficult is Zeetings to operate? I mean, do you need to crack open a manual or something, or take a class? I mean, or is it intuitive? I mean, how long does it take you to learn how to run it before you would make a presentation or use it?
Yeah, Zeetings is super simple. You go into our website. You can sign up with Google, Facebook, or email, and you can be giving a presentation in minutes. So one of the things we've said is you don't necessarily have to create your presentation in Zeetings. You just upload an existing deck. You choose the URL you want to present from, and you're away. You press the broadcast button, and away you go. It's really been one of our key design principles. I think we've all sat in presentations where the presenter starts and something goes wrong, whether it's the resolution of the screen or their deck doesn't load. And that was actually when we started the company, was just seeing one too many people fail in that initial 30 seconds of their presentation. So we've just tried to strip out any complexity.
Well, now, is this going to replace the PowerPoint and presentation products, or is it going to work with it? Speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So really Zeetings is complementary to presentation authoring tools. So PowerPoint is obviously still the main one, and our approach is that people won't need to, and people don't necessarily want to change the way they've been doing things on the creation side. So what we say is create your deck in PowerPoint or in Keynote or potentially even in Prezi, and then upload it to Zeetings, and we'll help you present it and share it in a much more dynamic and interactive way. I think the other thing that's interesting is people are now including more and more content types. So you want video, you want polls, then you want a few slides, and so we see ourselves as a container for all the different types of content you may want to present, rather than a way to actually create that content in the first place.
So in other words, I can use Keynote or PowerPoint, Keynote being the version that runs on the Mac, PowerPoint, Microsoft Office. I can spend whatever time I need to make my presentations and slides and everything, and still not feel that's a waste of time, and then use Zeetings to take that presentation and distribute it to everybody on their smartphones, what have you. Is that basically the model? In other words, you act as like as an outer envelope to the actual presentation software.
Exactly. So it's somewhere between. An outer envelope's a really nice way to describe it. You pop it in, And then what we give you is really, it's a bit of a social layer. So your presentation, which is, it's static, will overlay on that interactivity and the ability to share and the ability to see who's viewing it. And there's a bit of piece of magic there. One thing we do is whatever animations you create in PowerPoint, we actually preserve those. So we're not just taking a photograph of your slide and turning that into a JPEG. We're actually converting your entire deck into HTML5. So it works exactly the way you'd expect it to.
See, that's very, very cool.
Really allows for that cross-platform integration.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So basically, the work isn't wasted. I can still, because let's say, PowerPoint and Keynote offer some amazing authoring tools that allow you to make these presentations fairly simple, and it integrates with your existing files, so you can load them in and what have you, and create these different things or little movies and everything, and that's not wasted. But so basically, what you're saying is Zeetings allows me to just kick away the projector that I would have in the room. I don't need the projector anymore, do I?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely don't. And it's interesting because in smaller meetings, when people sit around a table, what often happens is there's kind of a projector on one end of the room, and what that does is people aren't engaged in a conversation. They're all staring off at a wall. When actually you put a laptop or a tablet in front of everyone, and now you're in a circle, which is a much better way to communicate. And we're so used to second screening on TV, and it's a really natural way for people to engage now.
And as you say, because basically the presentation, when I'm showing a PowerPoint presentation or a keynote up on a wall with a projector, it's a one-way conversation. Now, obviously, people in the same room can make comments or ask questions, but if anybody is watching remotely, if at all, if that's even possible, you don't really get them. Whereas with Zeetings, you actually can have two-way conversations with everybody who's watching your presentation, correct?
Yeah, correct. And I think the cool thing is that people don't necessarily have to be there, so you get to create the same experience whether they're physically in the room or tuning in remotely. And in both those scenarios, they get to actually just have their say, which more and more is what people want. This idea of sitting quietly and just listening just feels wrong.
Well, yeah. If you're watching TV, it's one way. But but the presentation, you want to get audience feedback. Anybody have a question?
What do you mean TV's one way? I yell at that thing all the time. What?
It never listens. Exactly. Although they're getting interactive two-way TV now. I mean, you can actually ask questions now, but it's still very rudimentary. But it sounds like with Zeetings, it's a lot more sophisticated than something like that.
So, sorry if I already mentioned this, but I guess I glossed over this. What would be the ideal group size for Zeetings? Is it 2 to 200? What did you kind of plan for?
It's a great question. So I always had this hypothesis in my head that you couldn't create a tool that could be used for small groups all the way up to large because the dynamics are just so different. What we've actually found is I think the absolute sweet spot is between 10 and 20 and 200. But we've done presentations as large as 600, 700, where the interactivity really works. And what we're finding is people are using Zeetings for really small meetings, so one-on-one, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So it's more about what functionality you use. If you have 2 or 3 people in a meeting, it's a little awkward to poll them digitally. You sort of just ask. Mm-hmm. But when you've got 200 people and you want feedback, a poll is a great way to do that.
Well, let's look at the flip side. I mean, then that certainly makes a lot of sense. But what if you're having 200 or 700 people, and you want questions to be asked? How do you queue that up? I mean, if everybody asking questions at once, you could have a real log jam with something like that. How do you control this? How do you control that? Do you need a moderator? How do you do it?
Yeah, so there's sort of 2 parts to that. One, with the really big presentations, 3, 4, 5, 600 people, you'll typically have a moderator. And that tends to be a larger conference or event, and and you'll have some support. The interesting thing about Zeetings is that although it is a live tool, it does actually live on after your presentation. So what that means is, what we're finding is, what often happens, people say, does anyone have any questions? And 20 hands go up in the room, and the presenter goes, well, I have time for 3. And 17 people are disappointed. So what we've done is we've said, well, let's let those 17 people put their questions in, and after the fact, the presenter can actually go in and respond to them in his own time.
Very nice.
And the people that ask the question will get pinged, and anyone else that chooses to follow that Zeeting will also get pinged, and the conversation can actually continue.
That is very nice. After the fact. Now, what is the job of the moderator? Does he have? Can Zeetings control to whom the questions from everybody is going to? I mean, how do you set that up?
Yeah, it's really straightforward, and we can jump into the demo in a minute. Essentially, all the questions fly into an activity feed, and the moderator and the presenter has some extra controls. So they can actually delay the feed, so a bit like live television, to make sure no one does anything crazy. You can add a 10-second delay. They can also delete comments and respond. And the moderator could respond with text, or just queue them up for the presenter to respond verbally when they're ready.
Now, what if somebody gets a little out of control and they say, something they shouldn't say? Is there any way to kick them out of the Zeeting thing? What kind of administrative controls do you have in a Zeeting meeting?
Yeah, you can kick them out. You can delete their comment. I think the one that works really quite nicely is that short delay. So if anyone, you actually get to jump in before there's an issue. What we found though is people worry about that up front, but it's actually, we're yet to have a case where it actually is a problem. Where on the reverse side, what we're finding, especially in some big corporates, is they're trying to create this environment of transparency. And this is a way to do it, to say, ask your question. If you want to ask anonymously, that's totally fine. And it actually can break down barriers between different levels of management.
Okay. So if you want to, you can ask your audience to ask you questions, or can you ask your audience to ask you questions through Zeetings?
Yeah, you can definitely. You can prompt them. And we've seen quite creative use cases with that. So you ask your audience to ask you questions, but you may also ask for comments. So as an example, if you wanted to do a brainstorm session, you could throw out a topic. Like we had one big company talking about the workplace of the future, and they had 300 people in the room. So they threw that topic out to the room, and then everyone commented and said, well, I think it looks like this, and I think it looks like that. And instantly you've got 300-400 comments coming in about a particular topic. So the questions is one side, and then the comments is another. It's really a free flow text communication.
But then can everybody see those comments and questions?
Yeah, they can. So it's all public.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't really want people to hide behind, being anonymous in a situation like this, because, in a business setting, that's not really what you want. But it definitely offers just something that I haven't really heard before. It's kind of like a forum Facebook kind of deal, but in live time, of course, and it definitely something that meetings have needed. But I'm surprised that Zeetings is the first time I've ever heard of something like this.
Yeah, it's it is a new way of doing things, and it's something we hear is people see it and they start using it, and they say, wow, this is really obvious. And I love that, because on the one hand it means why has it taken so long to come, but on the other hand it feels really intuitive for people, because you do just want to have your say in a meeting and tell them what you think. And the flip side is, as a presenter, you really want to know what people are thinking. This idea of staring into a sea of faces and just guessing is really nerve-wracking for people, and particularly in classrooms when you don't know, are your students keeping up, or are you going too slowly? Like, if you could actually have an indication of that in real time, I think you'd have a lot fewer kids, walking out the back of the lecture theatres at colleges.
See, but with my luck, like if I was a professor and I was doing this, like, okay, class of 400, today we're gonna start talking about history, and like instantly it's just gonna be like 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, and just like my rating just tanks. But no, feedback in any form is of course helpful, and before you had little pieces of paper, you handed them out, people wrote funny answers, and you really didn't get any worthwhile information. So, and all this information is kind of curated, and you can save it and look at it after the fact, or is it only during that session?
Totally, no. It's all saved. You can look at it after the fact, and you can choose to share it with people that were in the presentation or people that didn't attend. So yeah, but a bit like your show, people can come back and time shift. You can actually time shift a presentation.
Wow, exactly. Well, it sounds to me like you have something that's really different, as Ben mentioned. You haven't heard of it before. Would you say Zeetings is good for a classroom environment, or is it strictly for business?
No, it's definitely works. Definitely works in classroom environments. Teachers are always looking for new ways to engage students, and what we find is that people learn best when they forced to critically think. So tools like a poll, rather than giving students the answer, actually ask them the question and get them to think about what they think the answer is, and then reveal the answer is one really nice technique. But any way that you can actually get students to engage and feel part of an experience, rather than just listening to a lecture, really makes a difference to learning outcomes. The other thing that's kind of interesting, we're finding a lot of teachers, and we've been almost surprised by this because it wasn't expected, is they're using Zeetings in flipped classroom environments. So they're sharing their teaching materials the day before the class via Zeetings, and the students are jumping in, asking questions, and those questions are actually queued up. So when they get there the next day, the teacher can actually start the class by saying, yep, I can see everyone's already read the materials, and these are the 5 most liked or 5 most upvoted questions. Let's start with those and then get into the lesson.
So what happens to the Zeeting, or I guess that's the presentation once it's over? Is it archived? Does it go bye-bye? What happens?
Yeah, it just remains. It remains. It's got a permanent location on the web. So each Zeeting has a URL similar to a Dropbox file, and it stays available online, and the presenter can choose what to do with it. So they may choose to make it public, which lets anyone they share that link with view it. They could also make it private, so only people they invite can view it. And effectively, that environment remains live for as long as the presenter wants to keep having a conversation. Maybe a quarterly meeting that you want to actually keep that conversation alive all the way until the next meeting. You might want to keep a lesson alive till the end of semester, and that's totally cool. Zeetings just remains online, and everyone can keep viewing the content. The presenter can actually change the content even after the fact, and people can keep asking questions and making comments.
Or they can choose to delete it, right?
Yeah, totally. Or they can they can delete it.
Okay, so that's good. Now,
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, a lot of times people don't like to raise their hand. You have shy people, or something. Is Zeetings anonymous, or do you have to register to participate in the Zeeting meeting?
Yeah, so it's up to the presenter. We find 95% of the time presenters don't require people to sign in. So on the one hand, it makes it much easier to get started. But yeah, that level of anonymity is really interesting, because what you find is people don't like asking questions often, and we found culturally that happens more in some places. But the other thing is it allows you to talk about issues that are potentially difficult. So we had one really large corporate. It was a session I attended, and they wanted to talk about mental health in the workplace. And that's a topic you're never going to get people to raise their hand and ask personal questions about, because it's just too sensitive, particularly in a corporate environment.
Sure.
So, what they did is they had a mental health expert on stage, and people could submit their questions anonymously, and those were answered in real time. So it starts to create dynamics that just aren't possible otherwise.
All right. And do the people know that they are anonymous, so they can feel safe asking those questions? Does it let them know? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can enter a Zeeting and actually never provide any personal details.
Okay.
So it actually doesn't even ask you. Yeah.
Okay, good. So what does Zeetings cost if you want to use it? How does it work?
Well, it's free. So really straightforward. We'll introduce a subscription model down the track, but we're always going to maintain the free version, and the features that are free are going to remain free forever. So getting started, it's literally as simple as creating an account on the website, and away you go.
Well, you can't argue with free. There's no question. Yeah, exactly. And you can check it out if you want to at Zeetings, www.zeetings.com, or we have a link to Zeetings.com at our website at computeramerica.com, and you can check it out for yourself. Robert, anything else you want to let our listeners know before we say good day to you?
No, I think that's it. If you did want to run a quick Zeetings poll, we could spend take 10 seconds. People can jump on and have a vote. But yeah, it's free. Give it a go. We love getting feedback. We're an early stage startup, so the more feedback, the better. And we try and incorporate that into the product as quickly as possible. So yeah, definitely don't be shy with us. And if you want to send it anonymously, that works too.
All right, Robert. Well, thank you so much for being with us here on today's show. And sorry we had to get up a little so early for you, but thanks for joining us here on the Computer America Show. And you have a great day, okay?
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
All right, there you go. Zeetings.com. Robert Kowalski, again, co-founder and CEO of the company, and you can check it out for yourself. Coming up in the next hour, we have Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. The Amazon Echo is the news again. Also, the Razer redesigns the Orochi mouse for laptops. Chrome 45 brings promise of less memory usage. These stories and more are all coming up on Computer America. We also have our social media winner of the week. Stay tuned for more Computer America. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah, like there's a Perry Mason for Murphy's Law. Hi, it's Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Nextbook Flex 10 from IFA, a 10.1-inch 2-in-1 with a detachable keyboard to convert it from tablet to small notebook. And it comes with Windows 8.1. It's a very modestly crafted product. Just 2 gig of RAM, a quad-core Atom-class CPU, 2-megapixel front and rear cameras, just 32 gig of disk space, but an SD slot so you can boost that, and only low-band Wi-Fi. It's an economy model that we initially intended for a special role as a dedicated platform for a single app, then changed our minds. We dared upgrade it to Windows 10 and put it to work as primarily a browser box, but with the ability to capture, store, send print jobs, and run other apps. It's proving very good in this very mainstream role. Bottom line, the IFA Nextbook Flex 10 brings more than enough power for what most people mostly do. Marty Winston for the News Tips Bulletin and Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We just finished talking to Zeetings, and let's see, we just finished talking to Mr. Robert Kowalski, who is the CEO and co-founder of Zeetings, and it was a very nice interview talking about this brand new service. He said it's very early in the startup phase, but it sounds like he has a pretty innovative little piece of software that, again, what we like is platform independent and very, very accessible through any mobile device or any variety of devices. Mm-hmm. So very accessible, easy to use, easy to understand, and very powerful combination for a great service. But now we are about to do computer technology news. But before even we start that, we do giveaways here on the show. Yes, we give away products that we feel are very, very nice, very, very good. We don't give away what we don't like. And Craig has an MX Anywhere 2 mouse that he is just itching to give to a lucky social media follower.
Yes, and we're going to do that right now. We have our this week's social media winner, and that person is Deborah Page. Deborah Page, congratulations.
All right, Deborah.
Yeah, you win the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse. It works with that dark field technology, so it works on glass surfaces, even your jeans. It pairs up to 3 computers and switch between them with the touch of a button, thanks to its easy switch technology. It's compact. It's great. Valued at $80. Deborah Page, congratulations. You're this week's social media winner. And again, if you want to be a winner, just like Deborah this week, head over to computeramerica.com and enter in our social media contest. It's real simple to do. Each and every social media that you register for counts as an additional entry, and you only have to do it one time. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, they're all there, and you can see them. We have the links to them as well. Just like the page, subscribe to the page, the YouTube channel that we have, and each one counts as an entry every single week. So, and you might be a winner next week. We'll be calling your name.
Yep.
You. Yep. Okay, so let's do some computer news right now. Let's see what's happening in the world. All right? Okay, let's do it. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com.
You're right. And in this first story we have here, this is from Popular Science, and I like this because we really like water hydrophobic materials. They're very, very interesting. They're very, very cool, and they have a lot of promise, including food applications, chemical applications, everyday applications. It's very, very exciting stuff. And here we have actually an artist who is now using this stuff, and we're going to throw the video up here. But it's an artist out in Seattle, and by the way, this article pulling it from PopSci, it's how to turn a rainy day into art, and sidewalk art that puts chalk to shame. So this stuff you could kind of call the reverse chalk, in that it's you can only see it when the concrete is wet. If it's completely dry, it's completely invisible. You can't see it and you won't notice it. But he stencils these images using hydrophobic water repellent spray, and he makes pieces of art on everyday, sidewalk. And he uses stencils. He uses his own imagination. And if we go down here, you can actually see some of the different things he's done. But of course, he's doing this out in Seattle. So, not like this is California where his art will only be appreciated, twice a year. In Seattle, it rains a lot, so this is obviously you're going to see it. But yeah, he uses stencils and the water repellent spray, spends about an hour and a half. And yes, even you can do this too. And he sprays the concrete, which again, it doesn't add any slickness. You're not going to break anyone's neck or anything like that. But you see here where he outlines hopscotch courses, or stay dry out there with little raindrops underneath it, and just a very cool little way to just use this new hydrophobic material and do a little bit of invisible graffiti.
Yeah, it's very cool, very creative.
Very creative.
Very creative.
And again, it's something that you at home can do as well. This water repellent spray is, it's available at like Home Depot and Lowe's. It's available widely. And if you think that's cool, then, give it a shot.
Right. Exactly. I got a number of technology stories. We don't have much time. Hopefully we can get to this first one. I find really exciting.
That was technology.
I know, but this is the,
you need to stop bad-mouthing my stories.
I'm not bad-mouthing him. I'm just saying the couple of really cool ones that could affect all of us. We've always lamented over the fact that batteries don't last very long. That's a limitation to technology. Apple has filed a patent for MacBook fuel cells that could last weeks. Now, the fuel cell's been around for a while, but what makes this particularly exciting to me, Ben, is that Apple has filed a patent for it. And because Apple is one of the companies that really affects the consumer market, if Apple adopts a fuel cell system that could power, let's say a computer for days or even weeks without refueling, that I think could be a game changer. The patent refers specifically to Apple's MagSafe charger for MacBooks, and suggesting the technology would not be used in iPhones or iPads, at least initially. But, fuel cells, if you're not familiar, that basically fuel cells require refueling once they run out and can last for weeks. In other words, and it only takes a few moments. It takes like 15, 20 seconds to refuel, and then you have power, for weeks on it. And Apple's patent references a removable cartridge that could be slotted in and is likely the fuel cell that would operate alongside a normal battery. Okay. And basically this happens, this happened like days after a British company successfully developed a built-in hydrogen fuel cell capable of powering an iPhone for an entire week. So anyway, I just found that really, really interesting that Apple's filed a patent for a fuel cell. We may see this now. This actually might make it to the consumer level because fuel cells have been around, but they've never made it to John and Jane Doe. But this may make it happen. Really. Okay. So the other story I'd like to do here is that Asus has it continues the trend of PCs on a stick. Basically, Windows 10 in the palm of your hand. The Asus Vivo Stick is the latest HDMI dongle computer to come out. It offers a Windows 10 machine in a very slim, tiny form factor as a USB drive or a Google Chromecast. But basically, Asus's PC on a stick can turn any screen with an HDMI input into a computer. That's a full-fledged computer. Users get 32 gigs of storage, 2 gigs of RAM, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and a headphone jack. And basically, now this, I guess it competes with the Intel's Compute Stick that offers similar internals and trades the second USB port for a micro SD card reader. Dell has an Android stick, and it has 8 gigs and 1 gig of RAM, though its micro SD card ports supports up to 72 extra gigs for it. But Asus's own Chromebit, that's what they're calling the Chromebit, offers a similar setup to Chrome OS users. Now, the Vivo stick was introduced at IFA 2015 in Berlin. Some of the biggest news out of the conference belongs to wearables and smartphones, but products like the Vivo stick show that there's a room for traditional computing at a 2015 trade show as well, albeit in a much smaller size than traditional laptops or desktops. So there it is, the Vivo stick. Really, really cool.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right, next story. So many stories. Let's talk about Google.
Okay.
Google is about to get back in with China. If you don't recall, for some reason, back in 2010, Google had tried to make inroads into China, though China having very, very strict censorship policies and and whatnot, and very tight holds over the companies that operate within China, Google actually stopped all forms of business with China, which is why you see the rise of all these huge companies that are operated solely in China, and it's such a huge market. And I believe Alibaba was a company that was strictly from China, came to the U.S. and immediately was one of the heavy hitters because it had that free market, or not really free market, it's China, but it had that market all to itself, and just because it played by its rules. But for the first time since 2010, here we have Google trying to appease the Chinese government, and they're trying to get Google Play and the Google Play Store back in with China. Although China, they do impose a lot of regulation, and Google said, all right, folks, we really want this market, so do what you have to do to Google Play and let us get back into China.
Yeah.
So they also said that they are willing to work with the Chinese censorship laws to do it. They have a quote here. The company will follow local laws and block apps that the government deems objectionable in the interest of regaining control over its own operating system. So Google also wants to help Chinese developers distribute their apps outside of China and help international developers sell their apps within China. Obviously, Google just wants to break that market back open because 900 million people, that's nothing to turn your nose up at. That's a huge market, and if Google can somehow manage to get back in there, they stand to make a lot of money and obviously a lot of growth, because as we know, India and China combined represent a large majority of where new growth has to happen. The European market, American market, and South American market, they're pretty well developed. There's not a lot of growth there to be had. It's just replacing what was old with what's new. There's still plenty of opportunity for new customers, not just old customers, but new customers in China and India combined, which is where, between smartphones, wearable devices, and all these kinds of things that Google is specializing in, they hope to see a lot of growth.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people in China, certainly. A lot of people.
Yeah, 900 million.
Exactly. By the way, I know we talked about it. What do you think of Google's design letters? You think,
actually, we haven't talked about it.
Well, Google redesigned their letters. If you look at I thought we did a story on it. Google, if you look at it, you'll see that Google now has their.
Yeah, Google is going through a massive rebranding effort. If you recall, we talked about Google Alphabet and how they are restructuring their entire company to kind of better reorganize themselves. And Google is now just a subsidiary of Google Alphabet. So I'm sorry, Google Search is now a subsidiary of Google Alphabet, and everything is going to be under this giant umbrella of Alphabet. And another thing that they're trying to do is trying to rebrand and freshen up, and just do that spring cleaning thing that companies like to do from time to time, and really get Google back where just make it fresh, make it so it's not old and stale. And yeah, just the plain bold, flat pastel images. I mean, it's a way to go. It's not stunning. It's not it doesn't evoke emotion within me, but it's not bad.
Not bad. Okay. Now I know you're a Chrome browser user, and you still aren't using Microsoft Edge. You're still sticking with Chrome for now. But Chrome, again, is now bringing the Chrome version 45 is bringing promise of less memory usage. They're making it leaner and meaner because for a while it's had a reputation for being a memory hog. But now with the release of Chrome 45, Google is promising big improvements in the memory area. You can get faster page loads, smoother scrolling, and longer battery life. This is all according to Google. There are a number of improvements how Chrome handles memory usage. For example, previous versions of Chrome restored tabs without much thought to memory when relaunching the browser. But in Chrome 45, the browser takes a smarter approach. Tabs are restored from most to least recently viewed. And if your PC is running low on resources, it will stop restoring tabs, okay, which is nice. It also detects when a web page isn't busy with other tasks and uses that time to aggressively clean up old unused memory. So it's using some memory management techniques. It's interesting because the operating system is relegated to managing memory for the most part. Most modern operating systems, but evidently Google is doing it within the app itself. And evidently some testing here has shown reduced website memory usage by 10% on average, and even more effective on complex websites, just with that one feature alone.
Right.
Yeah. Also, it will auto pause Flash content that isn't central to a website, which of course is another nail in the coffin for Flash. It also has power efficiency benefits. They're claiming battery life is improved by 15% or more due to this feature as well. So just again, Chrome 45 now available. You should download it if you're not using automatic updates. And according to this, you're going to be, I think, pleasantly surprised. Have you downloaded Chrome 45 yet?
I have no idea. I haven't downloaded an update in months, if not years. It's set to silent, automatic. I don't even bother with it.
You don't even. Oh, you just have it update automatically. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
so I wouldn't be able to tell you if I did or not.
Okay. Well, you can go when you're growing. You just go about Chrome and it'll tell you.
I'm not going to do that. Anyways, this next story we have here is $30 million of taxpayer money for cougars. Not those cougars, different kind of cougars. But for cougars, giant cats, they may get their own highway overpass across Highway 101.
Wow.
And yeah, it's and it's not. And by the way, this article comes from Popular Science. Miss Beth Griggs is the writer for this, and I really like these things. They're called Wildlife Bridge. That's what they're called. I wouldn't even say they're new because they utilize them a lot in other countries, and even certain parts of this country where we have this great interstate highway system. It's amazing. It's what allows us to have so much commerce. It's, just stunning. But one thing that it has done and has been doing for the last, 100 or so years it's been around is, unfortunately, killing the wildlife around it. things wander into the road, things sees roadkill, tries to eat it, gets hit again, and it's just this dominoes effect of just things getting hit that really we just don't like. It's messy and it kills things unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So they've designed this overpass that will be for wildlife. And think of it like this: you have a highway, big, bustling, 8-lane, 16-lane, however big you want your highway. And think of an overpass, but the overpass on either side is just a gentle sloping hill that connects the wilderness around it.
Mm-hmm.
And over the top, it's all grass and trees and barricades and barricades on the sides next to the roads. But it's an overpass designed specifically for wildlife animals. So they'll be able to see it. They'll obviously walk up and down the highway and try to look for a safe place to cross. They won't be able to find one. And then, bam, highway overpass. They'll use this to pass, which obviously no cars, no chance of getting hit. And they'll be able to cross over to the other side for whatever reason they're looking for.
I like the fact that they'll be able to cross it without having to push, the crossroad button, and wait for
Yes. The non-fingered animals have had a really tough time with that. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing. And again, it's not just speculation about whether or not these things work. They have been using them in other countries, and they definitely do work. They reduce the amount of roadkill, and they even help save populations of endangered species, because roads they are a huge mess in terms of conservation.
Yeah.
So putting in a few of these things can save a lot of animal lives.
They just have to do a study and find out where the best places to put them, obviously, because they can be miles.
Well, yeah, it would definitely be cost prohibitive to put one of these things, every 500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But in certain places where animals are trying to migrate,
mm-hmm.
these things are nothing better. So
what's underneath it? When the cars pass, it's just like a bridge.
It's just like an overpass. It's the same thing underneath, but on top, instead of another road going the opposite direction, it's dirt, grass, trees, blah blah blah.
It looks and you can see the animation if you're watching Ben's. He's actually showing the animation of it. I think it's a great idea. That really is terrific. I'm for anything that saves animal lives. Absolutely. Yep. All right, we have a few more minutes here. Amazon Echo is in the news again. This is the one that Sandy Berger absolutely loves. Evidently, they're now going to support shared Google calendars. So basically, I'm seeing a lot of advertising on TV for the Amazon Echo, but basically, they've introduced. They can continue to introduce updates and tweaks and everything. So now, if you're using a Google Calendar, which we do here at Computer America, we use a Google Calendar, a shared Google Calendar quite a bit. The Echo now supports the calendars shared, whereas before it could only pull in details from calendars that were owned by your personal account. In the Amazon Alexa app, you enter in your Google Calendar details. From there, you can pick specific shared calendars to add to the Echo. That way, when you ask the Echo what's on your schedule, it'll only tell you the things that are on your calendars that you selected, which is kind of interesting. Me, though, I'd like to see the calendar. I think a calendar is more of a visual thing than an audio thing. But I guess in the pinch, it makes sense.
In terms of reminders or events coming up or something like that, just Alexa, what's on the agenda today? Or Alexa, what's happening today? And she'll be able to rattle off all of your different appointments. If you do find yourself using Google Calendar as an appointment maker, that could be very helpful.
I would think so. Exactly.
Or maybe even because it does have integration between public or shared calendars. Mm-hmm. You can say, Alexa, what's going on today? And Ben would like to have lunch at 3 p.m. at so and so, and you could, it's a nice little way to find reminders right there.
Or you could say, oh, Craig, you have a sound check at 2:45.
There you go.
Do that. So that would be kind of cool. Exactly. I would find that useful for sound checks. because do I have any sound checks scheduled for today? And it would do that. So that's kind of neat.
That's a problem a lot of people have. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, what else we got?
We got about 2 minutes left. That's what we got.
All right. Well, I want to do the story on the Razer mouse.
Well, actually, no. We'll do this one real quick. And this is an app. An app? Yes, an app. An app that is surging in popularity, according to the Business Insider. A new app that lets users' friends virtually walk them home at night is exploding in popularity.
Oh.
So, yeah. This is the companion app, which is its name, created by 5 students from the University of Michigan, enables users to request a friend or family member to keep them company virtually and track their journey home via GPS on an online map.
That's cool.
So, although they can do so, the friend or family member does not need to have installed the companion app, which is available for both Android and iOS. So, only the user strictly has to have it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other one just sends them a link of some sort and lets them track it that way.
Right.
So yeah, it's a neat little thing, because I've heard a lot of times of people afraid to walk home, and in places they aren't familiar with or places they aren't comfortable with, and they'll pull out their phone and they'll talk to people. But this is taking it a step further. This is actually tracking them for purposes of security, not just being on the phone with someone.
All right. I guess they have it on the computer. They can track them as well. Exactly. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the Computer America show. Again, our first week being on daytime, our daytime schedule.
I think we'll do it again.
Yeah, we're going to continue doing it again. Coming up Monday, guess what? It's there's no live show.
90 seconds.
That's right. It's a best of show. We're going to have a best of show on Labor Day, Monday the 7th. Then on the 8th, we're back live again, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's going to be a Gamer Tuesday with Josh Boykin is going to be joining us once again. Josh always lends very interesting insights into the world of gaming. He was on last Tuesday, but we really didn't get into the things that we wanted to with him.
60 seconds.
We will do that. So Josh Boykin for both hours of Computer America. And of course, we have time always bringing you computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, thanks to both of our guests, Thomas Cole from Laplink and Robert Kowalski from Zeetings.com. Have a great Labor Day holiday. Really, have a good time. Catch a movie. Go out. Have some fun. And Ben and I will see you same time, same station, Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. So until Tuesday afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Tuesday afternoon.
Bye, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And again, thanks to all of you for watching our live streaming video, our after show. Thanks so much for being here with us. And Ben and I will see you on Tuesday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.